What's up, guys? Biz, aka Trax here. Today I got something good for you. I've got GTX 680 maxed out settings on Star Wars The Old Republic. I thought I'd just throw together a video, to show all you people out there that's wondering how well Star Wars runs with the GTX 680. So here it is. First, let's start out with the specs of a GTX 680. Just so we can have a relative idea of what we're throwing at Star Wars. It has an interface of a PCI Express 3.0 x 16 card. Chipset is rocking the 1006 megahertz core clock with a boost clock of 1058. I'll get into boost clock later. It has 1536 CUDA cores. That's like almost 3 times as much. That is 3 times as much as a GTX 580. So, onto the memory. It has an effective memory clock of 6 gigahertz, which comes in around 3000 megahertz each. Memory size of 2 gigabit. It has memory interface of 256-bit with a GDDR5 memory type. DirectX 11, OpenGL 4.2. Now, with all that shenanigan aside, get done talking about that stuff. Let's talk about the performance. Now, with the game anti-aliasing turned off, running the FXAA that the GTX 680 only the GTX 680. This is new software improvements that NVIDIA has done. This game, on average for me, without running fraps, without streaming or using any third-party things to lower the FPS, on average is between 90 and 125 FPS. Now in fleet, in very, very crowded areas, when you're standing there, it can dip as low as 30 at times. And when recording with these settings completely maxed out at a 1920 by 1200 resolution, still doesn't drop below 30 FPS, as you can see down in the bottom left corner, if that's not too small for you guys to see there. So with that being said, that's a pretty powerful card. I mean, I've heard quite a few people that say they're having issues with this game, even with a GTX 580 SLI'd. So that would just suck. I mean, you think about it. Those are expensive cards in their own, and definitely will never knock a GTX 580. Any of you guys out there that sport those, you still got a top-end card. But for some reason, the 680 just handles this game at a much higher, I don't know, performance level. It just feels different, because that's what I upgraded from. I had one GTX EVGA GTX 580, and I upgraded from that to the GTX 680. And I'll tell you that I've seen a massive performance increase in games across the entire board. Before running Batman Arkham Asylum with my 580, couldn't even do it. With all the settings maxed and everything. Metro 2033, pretty low FPS. I got this thing, and I gotta tell you, everything seems to run at 60 FPS or higher. So for those of you thinking about getting the GTX 680 but don't know if you should pull the trigger, it's definitely a worthwhile upgrade. It provides a lot of things that the prior cards don't. A lot of people complain about some of these things, like the GPU boost. GPU boost, in theory, is supposed to overclock your card when it's needed. Some games, it doesn't work correctly yet, but I mean, we are on stage 1 of the drivers for this, and it's going to take some tweaking. In NVIDIA, they're badasses, so they will have their drivers flushed out and a whole new batch to us, maybe even some as I speak, because I haven't even checked in a couple days. So there might actually be drivers on their website right now to upgrade you to be able to use that GPU boost to better capacity in games. This is a Star Wars video, but I do have to let you guys know, because if you're not playing it, then you should. Battlefield 3, awesome FPS, great DirectX 11 performance, runs great on all the cards out there. Single GTX 680 runs average about 120, 130 FPS in that game. Now, the other feature I wanted to talk about is adaptive VSync. Now, adaptive VSync technically is better, way better than regular VSync, because adaptive, just the word in itself, it adapts. It will turn itself on and it'll turn itself off when it's not needed. So if I'm running at 60 FPS right on the nose in my game, it'll turn itself off and it won't give me a performance hit. And now if I'm running right at 20 FPS and it's actually lowering my performance and my frame rate to have vertical sync enabled, the card's smart enough to know, hey, turn this off. We don't need this right now. We're not getting past 60, so there's going to be no tearing, so why turn on? So it's pretty smart there. Another thing about the GTX 680 that you guys should be aware of is power consumption. This thing is awesome when it comes to power and quietness. I have a GTX 560 Ti, I believe, that I had my other card as a physics card. So I was like, oh, I'll just put that in my new rig with this 680, and I got the GTX 680 in there and realized I didn't even need that 550 or 560, whatever it was, and I put it in there anyway, and that thing is 10 times louder than the GTX 680 is. I mean, I don't think I can get you guys a sound test, but if you were sitting here where I am and I took that 560 Ti out of there, you could not even hear the card. That's how quiet it is. And a lot of people like quiet cards. I mean, that's a selling point. That's something that is important to a lot of people, that the cards are quiet. So if that's something that bothers you, that you don't like about cards, is that they're too damn loud and it sounds like you're on a military runway with F-16s taking off, don't have to worry about that with this card. It is dead silent. The thing is quiet. So got that point done and out of the way. If you check my YouTube channel, you will see some other videos, and I'll be putting up a couple other videos as time goes on, of GTX 680 maxed out in these games. I have a Battlefield 3 one up right now, but in the recording process, I kind of messed it up just a tiny bit. My bad. It doesn't look as good as it could. Hopefully, this one will be top notch for you guys. But that video is on there, so if you want to check that out and see how it's running Battlefield 3, go ahead and take a look-see there. This has been interesting upgrading, because I really thought it wasn't going to be that beneficial. I was just kind of thinking I was being a fanboy, but it's pretty good. So get out there and get it.